Hey friends, today we're stepping into one of my worlds. This world is full of different realms. There's like forest, there's a river, there's orchard, and more. And each one of these has a fairy guardian. So their personalities kind of match the vibe of the creatures they protect. These fairies live in a place at the center of this world that I've created called Fairy Garden, but I'm not really going to go into that today. I might do a future video about it, but we'll see. Today I just wanted to talk about these individual fairies and how I came up with some of their designs. I'm really excited about how they turned out. I'm actually very proud of them, so let's dive right in. Alright, so this first one, she is based off of an apple blossom. You can see there's the reference picture in the corner there. I just love how beautiful they are and bright. And this fairy, she is guardian over what's called the Orchard Court. It's actually just surrounding the fairy garden, so she is kind of seen as like the most maybe pure fairy. She's very young, she's just innocent, she's very sweet. I think I'm naming her Blossom. Makes sense, you know? Apple Blossom. Blossom. So how I normally do art, since this is kind of my first video talking with the voiceover, I kind of like to sketch traditionally. My brain does better when I can like feel the texture of the paper, and I don't have one of those screen protectors for my iPad that's got paper texture. But yeah, so I kind of import this sketch into Procreate. That's the program I've been using, and I'll lighten it, make sure there's no like shadows, and put it on multiply so then I can draw underneath it, and then I'll put on a solid like I'll do a solid outline silhouette of the character, and then go in on top of that and do individual colors, and then continue on, add shadows and highlights. Is what we're working on right now. I really love this character's like leaf ears. They just remind me of like a little cute elf. And her wings are so pretty. I found this picture on Pinterest of these butterfly wings, and they were just beautiful. So yeah, there's our Apple Blossom Fairy. She's so pretty. Alright, here's the next one. I've named her Root. She's based off of a bloodroot flower plant, which I've never actually heard of before, but it's really pretty. Like, might be one of my favorite flowers now. It's just so bright and white. I like how matte it is, which is kind of a weird thing to say. Anyway, so she is over the realm called the Burrow, which is like rabbits and hares. It's an underground living place, just in a bunch of, tunnels like rabbits and gophers and badgers live in. So bloodroot, funnily enough, will grow underground, if I'm correct, and their roots are like bright red, like blood. And so I think that's really cool. I tried to make the tips of her toes a little bit more dark, but also it was really hard to figure out how it would work with the rest of her body at the same time. She's a little laid back, she's just calm, she's peaceful, she just loves to have a good time, but like introvert style. Yeah, I love the way this turned out. This was like my second one that I drew. So yeah, it was pretty good. I And I like the background. I kind of changed the colors a little bit from this picture that I used. Oh, I love that I accidentally erased right there, then I have to, go back and fix it. I do that quite often. Just adding some highlights right now. I go in with the smudge brush and we'll just smudge it out. Doing some deeper shadows because even if there is shadows, there's still shadows in the shadows. And I think this really pulled the whole piece together. It gives it more depth, and I really like it. And here are the wings. These wings are based off of aphid wings, I think? Yeah. Which was hard to find a reference picture for, but we figured it out. Alright, this next one, she is named Scarlet. This is not actually a flower. It's called Scarlet Cup Fungi, I believe. They kind of look like a flower, and I love how weird they look, so I was like, I want to do a fairy based off this guy. This one was the first one I drew, so it was trial and error, but I love the design. She is guardian over the colony, which is near the burrow. It's also like an underground place, but it's got like ants and wasps and stuff. I feel like they're like the Roman Empire of all of these realms. And so I kind of tried to base her design off of that. She's got, on her arms and her legs are little cups, I guess, the fungi, where armor would be. And Romans oftentimes wear that like skirt-like thing rather than, like pants or anything. So that worked out perfect for her. She's definitely more like a military-ish vibe. Emperor Scarlet or whatever is here to save the day, I guess. Yeah, I would say she's a little different than the other fairies just because she is, well, partially because she's based off of fungi, but she's also the only realm that has only insects in it. Other realms have insects, but she's the one that there's only ants and wasps and, which I think we might go into that next for the world building is the colony, because I have some great ideas for, cute little Roman soldier ants and, I was kind of sad that the reference picture I used has more of the red in the cups rather than the orange outside of the cups, and I kind of liked that red, so I was sad I didn't get to show it more, but it works out like this really well in the end, and I like the little pops of red that it shows. It was really hard for me to figure out that knee cup, like how the shadows worked into that. there we go. There is the colony fairy, Scarlet. Okay, next we have Lily. That's her name. She's based off of Water Lily. She is guardian over the Riverstone Dominion, which is like any water creature. It's an ancient, large realm. It's just very like chaotic and peaceful at the same time, I guess. So I feel like that's part of her personality. She is probably the oldest of the group, and she acts like it a little bit, kind of like the oldest sister, oldest sibling. She kind of is a little bossy, but she knows what's best because she's seen it before. This was one of my last designs that I made, and I hadn't made a ton with so much pink, and I kind of liked it. Her dress is like lily pads. They're supposed to be like wrapping around her, and I thought that was fun because it was also different from the other fairies. Since she's older, probably from a different time, she may seem like a little different to the other fairies and kind of be left out a little bit, but I'm sure she doesn't mind. She kind of sees them all like little kids, probably. Yeah, and these dragonfly wings were awful. I'm never drawing dragonfly wings again. I didn't realize how many like veins there were on those wings. I just ended up copy and pasting them to do like the opposite sides because there was no way I was gonna spend that much time drawing individual veins on these wings. The shadows on her head were a little difficult to figure out, just like particularly for the front petals that attached to her head. I wasn't exactly sure how those worked, so I kind of left them to the very end to do. You'll see in a little bit. It was really interesting to do all the individual petals for this one, but it worked out in the end, I think, and it looks really good. I love the water. Yeah, she turned out really nice. There I am going in with the last shadows. Okay, our next one is kind of part of a trio a little bit. They're like the forest fairy guardians. This one, her name is Ro. She's based off of yarrow plant, which I really liked her skirt that I made. It's like the leaves, which kind of look like ferns a little bit, because a yarrow plant is mostly leaves rather than just flowers. So I thought that was a fun little twist. In Netwood, there are a lot of animals like squirrels and chipmunks. So she is a little chaotic and busy all the time. I'm sure that all of the little critters love her. They think of her each as their like best friend. They probably get into fights about whose best friend she actually is, you know. She's like the cool kid of the realm, which makes sense. She's the guardian of it. Yeah, and doing these individual flowers was really difficult for me. I usually just don't like to go into that much detail. I kind of like to keep things quick. This swimming cap idea was also an interesting choice, but I didn't really know how to do like the whole, because as you saw from the reference picture earlier, Yarrow is like a little umbrella kind of. I wasn't sure how to do that on her head. But yeah, here she is in all her glory. This one is probably my favorite one. Her name is Indy. She is based off of Indian paintbrush flower. She is guardian over Emberwood, which is like kind of the medium-sized forest animals like foxes and stuff like that. I definitely think she's a little clever. She is smart. She knows when to stick her head in business and when not to. I also really like her wings. They're based off of firefly wings, and I never realized that fireflies have like that little like cup thing, kind of like beetles have, that cover their wings. It worked out really well for her character. It didn't distract from the flower parts, which have a lot of detail, and so it was nice that I kept the wings pretty simple. There are so many individual petals and parts to this character. It was really hard to figure out where everything is. I think I did a pretty good job in the end. Anyway, yeah, the shadows take a little bit longer than the rest of them, just because there are so many different parts of it. And I like little pieces of leaves coming out of her headpiece also, in her little eyebrows. I thought that was a nice little touch. Indian paintbrush, like, stems, I guess, are really dark in color, and I loved that. I thought it was so cool. My couple first sketches were like a skin-tight dress almost, and she was mostly that color, but I was like, that's not the focus of who she is. She's supposed to be the flower. So I kind of left her legs and arms to be that darker color. So sassy in this pose, and I love it. We're adding the background here soon. Oh, yes. We're adding the wings, and I think I did a really good job on the depth of the wings, because they're, you know, like a little bit cup-shaped. Yeah, I really like the way she turned out. Like I said, she's probably one of my favorites. Ooh, this next one is fun. Her name is Calm. It's kind of a weird name, but I couldn't really think of anything better for it, for her. She is based off of a columbine plant, and these flowers are beautiful, but they're also a little confusing. They have like 3 different sets of petals. If you can see on the reference, there's like the top white petal, and then there's this, the pointy like purple ones, but then there's also like little, I don't know what to call them, the little petals like going down. So that was really fun to try to do the 3 different petals. I like how it covers her face because she is the guardian over Deepwood, which is like the bigger animals, bears, deer, things like that. And my idea for them is they're kind of more like mob-based. So she's posing like a mobster here a little bit. You can't super tell, but that's what it's supposed to be. I love her skirt. It's got the 3 layers, but you know, she's sitting down, so the layers are they were a little confusing to sketch out, not gonna lie. But I really like how they ended up. I found these wings on Pinterest. I loved their shape, so I used that as a base, and I did the three colors. You know how the top petals are smaller and white, and the middle petals are longer, pointy, purple, and then the bottom petals are very pointy and purple, and I think that worked out well with the wings. I had to put an arrow in there to remind me where the light source was going, because it was kind of a weird one. I think Colm is definitely more like secluded. She's the boss of everything. I'm sure she clashes with Lily from the Riverstone Dominion quite often because they're probably both a little bossy, but Colm is more bossy in a little bit of a dangerous way, and Lily is bossy in a way that she's like, I'm basically like old enough to be your mom. With this painting, there's just a lot of nitty-gritty things, kind of like indie. There's just a lot of little shadows that I had to figure out, so it took a little longer. And these are all just like sketches. Well, they're not sketches. These are all just like concept ideas, so I didn't go super duper into detail. They could have been more. Like, I didn't put out their individual toes and fingers, you know, I just wanted to get the idea across and do something simple and fun. I put the wing layer and multiply the reference that I had to see if I wanted to do this pattern on it, but I kind of decided against it. I put them as transparent in the end, and I really liked how that turned out. This one is a little weird. It kind of reminds me of the Crystal Skull aliens, you know, from Indiana Jones, with her head. My brother says that she looks like a Catholic priest or whatever, which is also true. So she is based off of a mountain bluebell. I love the colors. So it was really weird to figure out how to do her head since all the rest of them have the petals like attached to her head. So what I ended up doing is her head is just the flower itself, which is kind of a little strange, but it really turns out in the end. She is guardian over Stone Peak, which is like the mountains area, so mountain goats, you know, things like that. The animals at Stone Peak, they kind of have a view of, hey, I live higher than you guys, so I am kind of better than you guys, I'm stronger than you, I can live in higher elevations or whatever. So that's kind of like her personality. Oh, and her name is Belle. Anyway, so Belle is definitely like that. These fairies are just, all of them are a little prideful, I guess. There's a couple that are not, but she's just like, guys, I'm stronger than you, I have the best animals in my realm. We could beat you up if we wanted to. The pose reference I used for this picture, this woman had a dress on that had a little drape around her arm, and I really liked that, so I wanted to include it with this string of bluebells, which isn't exactly how the plant grows, but I thought it looked really cool. It added a nice little complicated design to her because a lot of her is just very simple, simple greens and stuff. And I did, as you can see, I did ladybug wings for her, well, based off of ladybug wings. Which the wing part is a lot more interesting than I thought it was. This is Flo. Her flower she's based off of is called Creeping Phlox. So Flo is spelled P-H-L-O. I had to think about that for a second. Which is different, but I really like her design. She's similar to Yarrow almost, with the flowers on her head, but I didn't want her to be too similar because they're not really related. And I love these wings. They're like moth butterfly wings. They are different from everybody else and they work really well. She is guardian over Skyflock, which is it's kind of like in the clouds, almost the high treetops, the cliff sides. It's all of the birds that live in the sky most of the time. You know, hawks, songbirds, robins, whatever. So Skyflock and Stone Peak, they both have a little bit of a rivalry because they're like, we are really high up, we're better than you. But they're at a little different views. Skyflock is like, we're higher up than you. Stone Peak is more like, we're stronger than you. But yeah, so they're very similar in personality, which makes them clash a ton, because, you know, if you know anybody who's like the same personality as you kind of get annoyed at them because you're like, oh, all the things that I don't like, you also have things I don't like about myself. Anyway, like I said with Yarrow, I don't really like going into like super details, so the flowers were difficult for me, but what I ended up doing was I just drew like 1 or 2 flowers, and then I copy and pasted them and just moved them around, which worked out for me. I love her dress. It's a very interesting, I wanted it to be like flowing, kind of like the Creeping Phloxes. Anyway, so here she is. This one is interesting. I love her little bloomers style outfit. Her name is Sunny. She's based off of sunflowers, as you can see. She's just very cute, very chatty, you know, just very sunny. She is guardian over Lower Skyflock, which is all the birds that live on the ground. So some of them like do fly, like, you know, geese and swans and stuff, but they like to spend most of their time on the ground. So they kind of just mostly stay on the ground here. They don't really see Skyflock as like important. They're like, hey, we're birds too. I mean, if any of you know geese, that's kind of her personality a little bit. She's a little volatile, but talks all the time, is super friendly, but also like will attack you if she doesn't want to be around you. Anyway, like I was saying earlier, I love her little bloomer vibes because these are kind of like what blooms look like on sunflowers, and I just thought that worked out really well. And with her like puffed shoulders a little bit too. This pose is kind of a little weird, but it's supposed to be her like gossiping with someone else. I don't know if you got that, but that's what it's supposed to be. This one had a lot of interesting shadows to figure out also, because the petals are so long they, draped across her face, and I really liked that striped feel. Having her face a little bit in shadow makes her kind of feel a little more dangerous, even though she's, happy, chatty sunflower. Oh, yes, and I did bee wings. I thought that worked perfectly for her since she's just so bright, and bees love sunflowers, so there we go. This one's name is Con. She's based off of a coneflower. And I wasn't really sure what to do for the name with that, but I was like, I could do Con short for like Connie or something. I don't know. But I loved her design. She's the only one that's kind of laying down, only horizontal one. She is guardian over Scale Grove, which is a lot of snakes and just all the reptiles that kind of live in forests. Yeah, so she's just a little lazy. She's sunbathing right now. She doesn't really care. Everybody stay away. I'm just trying to chill. Basically me. I did cicada wings for her, and I think they worked out well. The cone part was really weird to figure out, like the head. It was just, I tried to draw it and it didn't work out, so what I did is I ended up taking a photograph of the coneflower part, the pokey part, and I put it behind a drawing that I did, and I think that helped a lot because before it was just looking really weird and I didn't know how to figure it out. If I draw her again more detailed, I'll definitely figure it out, but like I said, these are just, for fun, trying to figure out the vibes. So, and I love that the wings are pink and bright. You don't see a lot of wings that are pink like that, so I thought it was really interesting to do. I also liked how you can't see her face, like, at all. This kind of makes her seem a little bit more, like, reclusive, I guess. She's like, don't talk to me. I don't want to get to know you. I'm doing my own thing over here. A lot of these fairies have kind of similar personalities, but they're all just slightly different. Yeah, and I tried to make these highlights on here a little stronger because she is supposed to be sunbathing in this picture that I did. that's our full set of guardians. Thank you for being here. I loved having you, and I'll see you next time.